All right, testing 1, 2, 3. Think we should be good to go, more or less. Apologies for the lateness. It in the purest, most ironic thing ever. I was literally ready to go like at 1:58, 1:59. I was like, "Oh, cool! I'm gonna be able to start on time." I shouldn't have said anything. I legitimately jinxed it because as soon as I didn't even say that out loud. I said that in my head, and it's almost like I said, I'm cursed. Truman Show type shit, ready to go, and my mom like starts. Like I said, it's almost like something activates. It's like, oh, he's gonna get ready. He's gonna start doing like a show, or whatever. I'm gonna start walking up and down the hall and going into the garage and opening the garage door and doing all this, and that. Making noise, turning on the car in a garage. And at first I thought, is it time? But then she opened the door. Some dark humor there. What is that? Oh, it's okay. It's a crease in my bottle. All right, seems like we have some people. OTF Des. Thank God it's Friday. Kinda. When you're unemployed and apathy sets in, almost every day is kind of the same. There's actually days where, or I shouldn't say days, like times, weeks, where I actually kind of prefer Mondays. When Friday comes around, there are some silver linings. Like I get to see my girlfriend. So far, I feel like for the past 2 months or so, it's been like Saturdays are our days that we see each other, because now, ever since February, she has a full-time job, Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. But the place that she works at is like an hour, sometimes an hour and a half away from here, depending on commuting and traffic time. So, by the time she gets home, she only has like 2, 3 hours to herself before she has to get ready for bed. You know what I'm saying? To wake up early to hit the road. And she's used to it now. It's been like I think we're on the cusp of almost 4 months. She just got a raise recently. So it's going well, but I just knew that, with that job came the sacrifice of like, okay, we're literally only going to see each other like once a week. It's like a long distance relationship, even though we're distantly not far apart. Like, she lives in the same city as me. I could see her in like 10 minutes, but because of the job, it's like we're only seeing each other a week. So that's one advantage of it being Fridays. I get to see my girlfriend tomorrow and we're going to hang out. The downside, though, is that it's the weekend. People are out, especially this weekend, because it's fucking Memorial Day, which means even more people are going to come out of the woodwork to be festive and fun. So, yeah. Which means traffic is probably terrible today. Which means she's probably not going to be up here until like almost 10 o'clock at night. But thankfully, like I said, she's off tomorrow. So, I don't know what she's going to want to do, but we'll see. Skelly Bones, welcome. Thanks, Timu, for the AI product ad. Speaking of like Timu and all those other like different sites, excuse me. I hate that. I hate that. I just barely started talking. I've only been live for like 4 minutes, and immediately my voice is already like getting like that. Like, why does that happen? Is it like the way I'm positioned? Is it the dust? What is it that causes that to happen? And it's funny because it doesn't really happen when I'm doing a video. Why is it that happens? Like, I really do just want a fucking answer to that. Like, some people have like this. Ever so often when I see streamers that go on for like 5, 6, 7 hours. No, I didn't do the meme. Like Maximilian Dude and a couple of others. It's like they go on and on and on, and they're by themselves. They don't have like co-hosts or whatever. And I'm like, how do they do it? How do they go that long with talking? And sure, like in the last hour or so, they start to look a little bit more exasperated. They're naturally tired. They're using up energy, but they're still in that last hour, they're carrying themselves still ever so slightly better than I am in my first hour of streaming. Get me? So I'm like, what the hell? Hydrate, David? And that's the thing, Skelly Bones. I just took a swig of water right before I went live. So I guess another one? Excuse me. It doesn't make any sense. I'm a dad. My dad's my dad's blend. My day Freudian slip. My day's blend. Yeah. To anyone who's looking for a Martian Manhunter, they are in stock in Lisbon, Connecticut, Walmart. Are you talking about the Martian Manhunter, the page puncher that just recently came out? The one that also goes with the Miss Martian Manhunter. That's what one of the things that terrifies me of being a dad is that it's pretty much going to become my full-time job if that ever happens. But along with that, it's one of those things where like I have yet anyone to make a compelling argument to have kids right now in terms of very logical, pragmatic stuff. In terms of like money and living and social standing, like it's one of those things where I'm like, what are we bringing kids into right now with the way the world is? And I say that because the girlfriend's already starting to drop hints like, give me one. And I get that we're not getting any younger. We're in our mid-30s, so we are approaching that window where it's like, okay, it's now or never. You're gonna start reaching that point where it legitimately becomes dangerous for her to have a kid. So it's like, okay, decide. All right, Skelly Bones, that's enough about the ad stuff. I get it. That's the thing about the ads. They use the AI voice recognition software. But let me double check that. Hold on, can I change that on the fly, or am I gonna have to wait until the next stream to do that? To check, because the fact that you got the first ad break you got was the pre-roll one, right? Could always adopt. No, Skelebones, that's not the point about just raising a kid in this day. It doesn't matter if it comes to adoption. For me, everybody's different. But for me personally, adoption is the solution in case things don't go right in terms of the natural way of conception, which I know gets kind of heavy. But yeah, it doesn't seem like I can change and lower the frequency of... Wait, hold on. Stream... Actually, hold on. Maybe I can. Edit. Oh, there you go. Monetization. Frequency. Low. I'm going to change that to low. Changes saved. So as far as I can tell, I should have lowered the ad frequency. There you go, Skelebones. Because based on the frequency that you mentioned, what kind of ads you're getting, I'm like, all right. I appreciate you letting me know, Skelebones, but I gotta tone that down, because... Okay, so there's a reason for why I wanted to go live today. Because as last week going into this week transpired, an awful lot of presentations were made. But life has the tendency to be just one giant ironic joke. And I feel like we got a very firm example of that this past week, because three of the main companies that I like to talk about an awful lot here on the channel, McFarlane Toys, Marvel Legends, and even Inart, had some kind of showcase, live stream, presentation, if you will, exhibition. And yet, it all bore nothing. I'm sorry, spoilers, but they showed it. There was a lot shown and nothing shown at the same time. I can't believe I'm saying that. Literally, all three McFarlane Toys, Marvel Legends, and even Inart had made moves that amounted to nothing, which is the truth. And if that costs me in some way or another, which I'll kind of hint at as we kind of navigate through the itinerary, then so be it. Because lately I feel like I've been seeing the repercussions of what it is to just play it safe, be safe, like everything, and eventually that shit comes to bite you in the ass. And I'm talking about that factor or that angle, not only within the toy community, but also even outside of the toy community when it comes to like movies, when it comes to like video games. Recently in the video game sphere, we had the whole mixtape controversy that ended up, that was just so like something was off about it so bad that it prompted people to do like some legit hard-hitting cold stone investigative journalism. And sure enough, a good chunk of that investigation yielded evidence that point to things being a little on the suspect side with that game, that even I'm like, god damn, you guys thought you could get away with it, but the internet always finds out. On the movie side, again, there's we got the Mandalorian and Grogu movie coming out, I think literally today, technically last night, and all the reviews are mixed at best. But even with that, related to the Mandalorian and Grogu, there was this like thing that Pedro Pascal did where he surprised guests at the Disney park with him dressed up as Mando, but then he takes off the helmet. He's like, "Hey, look, it's me." But people on the internet were quick to point out that either most, if not all, of those guests that he was surprising are actually, in fact, influencers that Disney flew out. And it's funny because I didn't even have to look at the comments. I watched snippets of the video. I saw the Instagram version of the video where it's like 30 seconds long, not the whole thing. And it showed the reactions, and immediately I saw a dude go, doing like I'm not exaggerating. That's literally the faces that he was making. And I'm like, he's acting. You couldn't have like gotten someone who's a bit more natural. He's acting. And then I rewinded to see his reaction again, but this unfortunately made me catch another reaction right next to him that was also exaggerated by another person. I was like, these aren't real people. These aren't real guests. And sure enough, I just swiped, and there was a community note by Twitter /X saying, yeah, these are influencers. They're not guests. They were Disney was community noted. I was like, guys, come on, like, people will find out. You can't fake this. And I feel like a little bit of that is going to happen within the toy industry or the toy community as well, where you cannot fake it. You can't be a fan of everything. When you're a fan of everything, you're a fan of nothing. When you try to please everyone, you're pleasing no one. And if anything, I mentioned this recently. I think it was like last week when Will Foxification, who's a content creator within the 1/6 scale space, was talking about Hot Toys and how Hot Toys has been getting kind of complacent. And I mentioned a comment where it's like, okay, he was getting pushed back because he was criticizing Hot Toys for being lazy, which was definitely demonstrated last night. Breaking news that I might showcase if we have time, because last night they revealed a new Spider-Man figure. And it's the laziest thing that I've seen Hot Toys put out in quite some time. And it's become pretty evident that somebody needs to give Hot Toys an ass kicking. And if there was someone that can definitely do it, it's Inart. But at the same time, Inart's been quiet. Somewhat related to one of the topics we're going to talk about. Inart has most definitely been quiet. I'm like, guys, you guys have the power. Again, pun intended, since we got the Masters of the Universe movie coming out in, I think, 2 weeks. In about 2 weeks. They already have the premiere, and some initial responses are saying that it's fun. It's kind of dumb, but it's still fun. Just like the cartoon. Are we still streaming? Cause why is my okay? Yeah, now it says 8. Okay, that was weird. Um, yeah, like in that stream with Will Foxification talking about Hot Toys, I mentioned that to me the worst thing that can happen with something that you're a fan of is apathy, where you just don't care anymore. Like you can't even get angry about it because when you do get frustrated, irritated, and then borderline angry about a decision that was made, whether it was commercially or critically or a strategy, etc. If you feel an emotion towards that, that means that you still care. You still care about that company. You still care about that property, those characters, that story, that lore, that environment, that universe, etc. But when apathy hits to where you're like, I'm moving on. I don't care about you guys. That to me is worse. And yeah, I think a lot of people are being hit with apathy with Star Wars. And if they don't course correct, apathy will set in with Hot Toys to where I'm like, I'm done with you guys. I don't feel in any kind of direction anymore. And they're beginning complacent. And these 3 companies I'm going to be tackling in this live stream, I can honestly say that apathy hasn't fully set in. But sometimes I feel like there's treatment heading in my direction almost as if I was apathetic. And I'm like, you guys realize that there's other people online that are quite literally wishing for your downfall. And yet I'm over here just hoping that you could do better. Because effectively, that's what kind of came to mind when we had the McFarlane Toy Show, the Marvel Legends stream, and then even a special appearance by Inart at a Chinese event over last weekend. Take another swig of water before we tackle some of these things that are on the list here. All right. So let me see if I can pull it up. Okay. So, switch the screen here. First one we'll tackle is McFarlane Toys. Since exactly a week to the day ago, they had episode 13 of the McFarlane Toy Show. Now, I think it was actually on the last live stream that I mentioned that they. Oh yeah, it was on the last live stream that I was made aware. It was breaking news. They had that morning, I think, they announced that they were gonna do the live stream Friday, May 15th, for episode 13 of the McFarlane Toy Show, and it was going to be a Mortal Kombat special, Mortal Kombat centric, if you will. And when they announced this, I was, again, pretty indifferent because initially being psyched for McFarlane to be dishing out Mortal Kombat figures, especially since they're starting from the beginning of the whole thing, which is going to be Mortal Kombat 1, to be precise. All that hype and all that anticipation really went out the window when I realized that the figures were priced at $30 a piece, and they only came with like one accessory. They were frankly, in my humble opinion, coming with even less than what the standard DC Multiverse single card releases came packaged with. And I'm over here thinking, I'm spending more for characters that I technically care a little less about. Because if you ask me, do I care about Batman or Mortal Kombat more? Obviously, I care more about Batman. But I still like Mortal Kombat quite a bit. And I was thinking to myself that Mortal Kombat could be like the vessel to keep McFarlane a little stronger and more afloat after the license runs out. But then to realize that they're pricing each one at $30, I hear that the Bucks have kind of so-so articulation and detail, and then on top of that, only one accessory. And I really do mean one accessory. Sometimes that accessory could just be the pair of hands, or it could be like in the case of Scorpion, the kunai with the little wired rope piece, and that's it. And I'm over here like, and the base, and I'm like, $30, 30, just a few dollars shy of a theatrical deluxe edition or a collector's edition or a build a figure wave, which I'm not even sure if they're doing anymore. They're not doing BAFs anymore, are they? That just kind of crossed my mind. When was the last time they announced a BAF? That was not animated series, because all that stuff is DC Direct. I'm talking about DC Multiverse. When was the last time they did a BAF? Because now I'm kind of blanking out. When was the last time they did a BAF? So yeah. So the fact that the Mortal Kombat series comes in just a little shy of that individually, that unfortunately put a bad taste in my mouth. And to this day, I still have not bought any of the Mortal Kombat figures. And over time, they started to become quite frequently and available to purchase. Right now, I haven't seen one in store in a while, but at the same time, I can't tell if that's just these retail stores not stocking them because they thought, okay, we're not moving them, so we're not going to order anymore from the merchandiser, in this case McFarlane. I don't know what the exact information there is. I just know that if I can do a quick search, I can find them on the McFarlane Toy Store. I can find them on Amazon. They're still somewhat available if you look hard enough. So, pretty peculiar that this show was labeled as thematically tied to Mortal Kombat, but at the same time, the timing is not a coincidence, considering that we just had the release of the second movie, Mortal Kombat 2, which I hear is actually pretty fun, pretty good. I still haven't seen it. I would like to see it. Hell, maybe, impromptu, maybe me and my girlfriend might check it out tomorrow. Who knows? We'll see. At the same time, I'm also a little scared to go to movie theaters or anything like that this weekend because it's Memorial Day weekend. There's going to be much more people out. It's going to be disgusting. If you couldn't already tell, I hate people. I hate crowds. I'm not like agoraphobic necessarily. I just go with like disdain, like Squidward. It's like these people. You know what I'm saying? If we had like crowds of like-minded people, like when Endgame opened, that opening night for Endgame, I didn't mind that crowd because I knew that the people who were there like with me. We're here to see the movie. We're not here to be on our phones. We're not here to talk. We're locked. And sure enough, that was one of the best movie theater crowds. They cheered at the right moments without being over the top about it and egregious about it. It sniffled at the right moments, at the end. And perfectly silent when it needed to be. It was borderline perfect. Down to the smallest detail. Yes, I snuck in a Homelander meme there after the big finale this week. What do you guys' opinions are on the boys finale? I haven't seen it. I already know what happens because, of course, the internet can't resist. The actors on the show can't resist. Either that or they're contractually obligated to tweet out spoilers no more than 12 hours after the finale aired. Thanks a lot. Even though I don't follow any of these actors. But the fucking Threads feed just sent it to me. Thank you. And I have keywords and things muted for the boys on my social media, but still send it to me. So you either have to block these people, the actors or creators that work on these shows if you're trying to avoid spoilers, or just delete the app. Delete the app. And you literally have to go, as they said in the show, scorched earth. You have to delete everything or block everyone. That's the only way this is going to work now. There's no tailor and tinker. No. You just have to get rid of it all if you don't want spoilers for a show. So when the bear comes out, I'm going to have to manually go in there and block all, whatever actors on the cast that use the social media. I've already blocked words, I believe, but yeah. It's insane. And like I said, sometimes that doesn't even work. People will vague post with the most vaguest caption, but then the photo is full on a spoiler, and I'm like, why is this in my feed? But because they didn't use keywords, Threads is like, oh, okay, this is fine, and they send it. I'm like, That's where I'm like, I need to delete the app. Anyways, back to this rant aside, back to the McFarlane Toy Show stream. So I thought, okay, it's Mortal Kombat centric. That means I can maybe kind of skip it and just watch it on my own accord. Not have to like stream it or whatever. But I remember reading in the caption on social media that they were going to make some announcements and slight discussions on other brands. So that made me think, is it going to be something DC/Batman related? And there was. Monkey's Paw. We're not going to watch, even though I put this on, we're not really going to watch the whole stream because it ended up being a very hefty and chunky one at 1 hour and 5 minutes. It's just very unfortunate that there's really not a whole lot to go on, at least for me personally. Because it starts off with AJ here, as always, using a webcam with no... They really need to get their own space. I really would love if there's a way for after the summer, preferably after Comic-Con, if they can like nail down a place. But at the same time, what's the point if, like I said, they're losing the DC license? Like, are they really going to put that much effort into something like that? I wish they would. I still genuinely wish they would, but are they going to? Not really. So, show started off with the obligatory housekeeping of mentioning not just their presence at IGN Live Magic Box at the Reeve, June 6th to 7th, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Once again, these are the people that gave Mixtape a 10 out of 10. But anyways, yeah, they're going to show up there to show like one or two things, just like they did in the past couple of years. It was actually at IGN where they showed that Ultimate Movie 6-pack of Batman. But that was like 2-3 years ago. And then after that, they just showed like some Ultimate stuff. I can't remember what else. That was honestly, in my opinion, their biggest thing that they showed at IGN was the Ultimate Movie 6-pack. But apart from that, they didn't really do anything else kind of crazy, really. So we'll see if they got anything cooking this year. But I got to be honest, it's looking kind of meek. And then after that, more confirmation of the things that are definitely going to be going out this summer, especially since they know that there's going to be more kids, teens in the stores. So Geek Out, Summer Geek Out for Target is in full effect June 12th. Collector Con for Walmart's July 23rd to 24th, which is, you know, perfect timing for Comic-Con because I believe that is in fact Comic-Con weekend. Recap of the Supergirl stuff that's currently out right now, including the practically forgotten replica of Lobo's Hook. I didn't even know that was out. More superpower stuff coming in the summer over at Entertainment Earth. I personally don't collect the superpower stuff, but for those who are interested, that's there. Big Bad Toy Store now is a physical store, except it's called Big Bad Game Store. And it's so confusing because you see the name and the color scheme of the logo, and you think, oh, BBTS now has a physical store to buy toys. No, it's called Big Bad Game Store. Okay, so you can buy video games. No, you buy tabletop games like Warhammer. It's such a confusing... I hate to sound mean, but let's see if you're still standing in a year. Because, come on. No one's going to look at this and go like, oh, I'm going to... get. Even people who live in Minnesota are going to be like, I'm going to go in here and buy toys? Video games? No, board games and tabletop stuff like Warhammer. Or I can go into my local Warhammer shop or my local collectible store for that. Like, there's so much misbranding that I'm like, what is this? So yeah, BBTS, I don't know what you guys are doing here, but this might not be it. Recap of, again, some of the Spawn stuff that went up for pre-order lately. For the month of May, $50 this thing for the purple and black Batman Who Laughs, which is pretty topical considering that right now I'm covering the LPZZ Batman Who Laughs. And then it is here where they kickstart the whole Mortal Kombat stuff with Claudio in costume from what appears to be a custom-made suit that he made for himself. I honestly think it's just a black shirt with these like things with, you know, yellow construction paper. But, you know, props to Claudio for going all out, and then of course John, the photographer, gets invited on there. Um, and yeah, after this, honestly, it's merely just recaps of the things that you can either order now or are available for pre-order, which is see these variants of like the ice clone and then the translucent reptile variants. It's merely see-through variants because that is in. And then Ermac and Johnny Cage classic versions. And this is just a recap of everything that is out. Funny that this entire segment, I don't know if you guys were watching live, but during this segment, all the way to where they stopped talking about Mortal Kombat and they moved on to some of the Spawn stuff here in the middle, there was a guy. I wonder, is the comment here? I don't think it's here yet. Let me see if I skip ahead a little bit. There was a dude that was spamming. I'm surprised he didn't get banned. He was spamming over and over and over to the point where like other people were like, can somebody just answer this guy's question? There was a guy that was spamming if we're ever going to get Melina in a single release instead of being forced into a 2-pack. Because right now you cannot buy Melina without being part of that 2-pack. From Walmart, I believe. And yeah, there was this guy that was like spamming it. I haven't seen it in the chat yet. Let me skip a little ahead here. Unless the guy really did get banned, because now I'm not seeing. I'm pretty sure that by this point in the stream, I was seeing his comment. Yeah, I don't see it. Maybe he did get banned, but once they did like this, like housekeeping and all this stuff, they then revealed the upcoming characters. But I don't know how to feel about the fact that they revealed the characters that they're going to be tackling next, but they still don't have anything to show for it. You just have these like, shadows. So I guess they'll have to wait. I don't know if this means that they have prototypes ready or what. I can't remember. I got to be honest. I tuned out what they were saying here. But I just know that Kung Lao, Smoke, Baraka, Jax, and Shang Tsung, I think they were talking about Mortal Kombat 2 characters specifically, because surprisingly some of these characters didn't show up until Mortal Kombat 2. And just 2. They weren't talking about 3 or 1. So, yeah, that's your next batch of characters. Again, unless they were to lower the price or throw in more accessories, nothing's, moving anything for me. So, yeah. And at this point, they were already practically halfway through the show. Some more stuff about those Spawn figures that were available for pre-order. These ones right here. So if you're a huge Spawn fan. And then some of these constructed figures also Spawn related, where you can kind of like build the characters. They're kind of like Lego-ish aesthetically. And then the Vault Collection re-release of the Medieval Spawn, in case you missed out the first time. Or pretty much a recap of the entire Vault Collection, because they also covered the Dark Knight stuff, of which I mentioned before. The only one that I'm slightly moved to pre-order or pick up in store, really, not even pre-order, just if I see it in store, maybe I'll get it, is the Bank Robber Joker. But that's it. Everything else, I'm good for now. And then they also showed, they also recapped about how you can pre-order this wave of Batman figures. Which is pretty. It's funny that there's one missing here, right? Wasn't there like a 5th one? Unless I'm blanking out, but it doesn't matter. Pretty apt timing for them to say that you can pre-order these now, because I believe it was either yesterday or the day before that Toy Shiz over on social media reported that they are already being found at Targets. In fact, semi-close to within my region here in Southern California, I believe somebody found them in the Irvine Target here in Southern California. Technically, it's within driving distance of me, but we're talking like almost an hour and a half, so I'm not going to drive. Because out of this wave here, I would say maybe the Batman as Deadman only because of how flamboyant that color scheme with the collar is, because it's so out there that it kind of just pops out of the box. And then maybe The Dark Knight Returns just to make a short out of it. But at the same time right there, I think back, I'm like, do I really just want to spend $25, $27 just for a short? It doesn't sound, like a reasonable investment. That's why I'm like, no. This guy, I already have him except with the lighter coat of paint from that Walmart Gold Label exclusive. Otherwise, he's the same thing. Here's the DC Rebirth Batman. And even the Batman Deadman, it's Batman Hush, but with the collar and the red color scheme and the weird ass logo. That's it. So I don't know, man. And then the goal and the audacity to remind people that you can still pre-order. And even in the stream, it's almost like they kind of want to say something. I'm sorry, I'm going to say it. It's almost like they kind of want to say it because they kept emphasizing with like this thing in their voice, like, hey, still available for pre-order across almost every retailer. Like, yeah, like they kept saying, like, it's still available for pre-order if you check right now. I'm like, why are you pushing it so hard? Because you can't move this because it's so goddamn overpriced for what it is, which is a bat missile that only appeared on screen for a few seconds. You can almost make the same argument for this Alan Scott Green Lantern and Solomon Grundy, which is just a repaint of the Arkham Solomon Grundy. Some more stuff about the resin statues here, like Batman Ninja, TMNT stuff, the not Wolverine, Silverhawk, whatever this is called, Shadowhawk. That's posed like the Spider-Man Torment cover here for some reason, but looks like Wolverine. I don't know how you can legally get away with this, but the Jim Valentino Image Comics Founders Elite Edition, along with the reveal of the next Elite Edition, which I'm going to skip a little ahead here. Over here. Which is Savage Dragon, I believe. So they did tease this. So they have no qualms in finishing off the Image Founder series. And staying within Elite Edition, more of this Elite Edition Helldivers 2 figure. Along with the non-Elite, which is going to be like this orange. And I think there's also like a green one. Oh no, it is just the orange one. Alright. But yeah. The Helldiver stuff, which from an action figure standpoint looks cool, but Elite Edition, it's not enough for me to be like, yeah, I'm willing to spend $50-$60 on this. I'm like, no. If anything, possible hot take, I think this might be the first Elite Edition I can see. It's not a guarantee, but I can see it start to show up at either DD's or Ross. Maybe. I'm going to take a break here to catch up on chat. Blackout Mike, welcome to the stream. Tony Kayada, official. Sorry, guys, I was kind of locked in. Brian's new dishwasher, welcome. There's also NECA with the release of characters that no one knows who they are. Well, I mean, I know that when they skew towards horror, it's probably where they make out their money a little bit. Should be spoiler features in every pattern like Discord has posters, can block out photos and text until you click it. People will probably still not use it though. That's the thing, Skelly. They're not using it. I know Threads has a beautiful spoiler function where it'll like create like the star effect over text, or will blur out the photos. They're not using them. They're not. I'm telling you, I'm not kidding when I said that the finale was spoiled for the boys, was spoiled for me by the actor who plays Mother's Milk, who posted behind the scenes photos of that finale that shows a big spoiler there. And I'm over here like, nobody, like not his publicist or anybody told them to use the spoiler blurring feature on Threads. Nobody. And that's because it's very easy to get convinced that it's not really him posting these. It's his publicist or his social media handler or whoever. And whoever it is using some kind of like software to post across all the platforms, so they're not manually going in there to say, oh, blur on Twitter or blow her on Threads or do something. Be cognitive about it, but they're not. And here's the thing. Here's how I hold on. I don't think I'm logged in on Threads on my computer, but I do have it on my phone. And I think I still have. Yeah, okay. It's dying out a little bit now, which makes sense. It's been like almost 2 days since I put. Wait, yeah, it's been 2 days. It's been 2 days. But when I got that spoiler from the Mother's Milk actor, I posted in the comment section just nonchalantly because I wasn't expecting anything. In the comment section, I posted, not even 12 hours, Jesus. That's it. That's all I posted. My comment, I'm sorry, I generally don't gloat, but I will this time. My comment got 264 likes. It got picked up. People started liking it, and it started pushing it towards the top. And yeah, 264 likes liked my comment where I said, not even 12 hours. Jesus. Now, naturally, it did get pushback from some people. There was one particular one here. So one comment responded saying, was over 14 hours plenty of time to watch? Out of that 14 hours, I want to say 7 or 8 are conventionally the time where people are asleep. It went up at like, what, midnight or a little bit before midnight, like 9 p.m. for Western. You know, some people still have to work the next day, right? It's the middle of a fucking week. And I replied saying, not for people who have a life. Someone replied to that saying, shows how much you valued the show. I responded with a comment that actually ended up getting 3 likes. Just 3 likes, but it is what it is. So if the baby is on its way and she has to be taken to the hospital overnight, right when the finale dropped, then the father didn't value the show? Fuck off. That was my comment. Because it's, kind of a stretch out there scenario, but it is a plausible scenario. A father-to-be who's a fan of the boys and was waiting for the finale also happens to have a baby on the way, and right when the finale airs, the mom goes into labor and he has to take her to the hospital, and this whole thing happens overnight. Labor could last for like 12 to 15 hours or whatever. Baby comes out. Father checks social media and gets a spoiler. Because he had to go and, deliver his fucking kid. But he didn't value the show. Get fucked. I wish McFarlane would up the price for his Batman figures and make better quality. Yeah, like if you're gonna up the price, that's fine, but up the quality. That's all we ask. And then somebody responded. I find it also pretty funny and pretty telling that every time I got a new reply off of my replies, it was a different person every time. When I got the first one about, hey, it was over 14 hours, plenty of time to watch, that was one guy. And then when somebody said, shows how much you value the show, that was a different guy. And then I get a third comment from a third guy, not different from the other two, saying, quote, boo-hoo, spilt milk, laughing emojis, not our fault you're a social media addict. Perhaps you should focus more on the baby coming than being on Threads, laughing face, end quote. When did I say I was talking about myself? I was using an example, and I replied by saying, nope, not me, just using a hypothetical. Also, seeing Laz's post was my first time opening the app since breakfast. I opened it once right before I started cooking my breakfast, and then I opened it again about 3.5 or so, 4 hours later, after I took a break from editing and playing some games. And then I ended that response by saying, so cordially, fuck off. And I haven't gotten a response since. But again, pretty telling that every time I got a reply, it was a different guy. It was never the same guy. Why? Because they know that I'm right. They know I was right. And after that, the only thing that kept going up was the likes on my first comment. Yeah. Like, come on, guys. And it's because of engagement. They just want engagement. They don't really. Sometimes I don't even know if they even care about the show. Ooh, Brian, that's a good prediction. I have a sneaking suspicion McFarlane will reveal the God of War figures at IGN FanFest. At the speed of how he's actually able to be churning out these Helldiver figures from when they announced the partnership, I'm kind of like, yeah, it's plausible. I could see that. I want that Melina 2-pack, but she's like 250 on Macari. That's insane that 2-pack actually did go quickly. So it's not available in Walmart. That's the only McFarlane Mortal Kombat thing related thing that I think is difficult to come by. But the ones that I said are readily available. I'm talking about like the standard single card stuff: Scorpion, Sub Zero, Liu Kang. I would even say Raiden. Once the initial pre-orders finally get fulfilled, I want to say Johnny Cage is probably going to be readily available. You know what Batman figure I'm looking forward to? LPZZ Arkham City. So am I. Blackout Mike. So am I. The Voltark Knight looks good, but I have the Inart. Yeah, it's tough to go back. I think you need those back. That's the thing. Well, yeah, Brian. When I say that I'm not feeling any of those that wave that they reminded us to pre-order, when I say I'm not feeling it, I'm talking within the moment. I do know that if I want to commit to completing that McFarlane Toys DC Multiverse Batman collection, considering how mildly close I am to completing it when I take into consideration how many I own, and going back to that story that I said in that video where my girlfriend kept pulling out figures and I kept saying, yeah, I already have it, and even she was like, wow. And finally, it took a few tries to get to a figure that I didn't have. And I had that eye-opening moment of like, maybe I can achieve this if I really dedicate time and money and effort into it. I do know that in the long run, those figures from that slide, let's go back to that slide. If I could find it. Back over here. Yeah. This slide, I know that effectively, yes, I will need to get these for. And I know that probably right now is the best time to jump at them from a cost-effective standpoint, but at the same time, the tried and true collector in me genuinely wants to prioritize Batman figures that I don't own. Like number one on my list right now of like figures that I'm like, if I can get it for close to MSRP, even just a little over MSRP, like $30, $35, Batman as Devastator, where he pretty much looks like what's his name? Doomsday. Like that's a good example of a figure where I'm like, he looks really different and I don't own him. I would rather put my money towards that than to spend it on this where I know that it's just a repaint. I'm just paying for the skin. Paying for the paint. So that's an example of like, I just right now, if you were to give me the money and give me accessibility to it, I'll be like, I'd rather have that Devastator Batman. And then the biggest like, what the fuck moment of McFarlane in recent times in terms of license properties that they are making figures of, these Poppy play. Dude, I don't even know where this is. Like, prior to them announcing the figures, I never heard of these things. It was through these figures, and I guess maybe that's the point. You can make the devil's advocate. That's the whole point of McFarlane making these figures, is that people will find out about the game. And I'm like, I still don't care for the game. I look at these designs and they're fucking ugly. You know what I'm saying? Because I know that his mentality is the same one that he uses for Spawn, where he's like, hey, you discovered Spawn through the figures. Well, did you know that there was a comic? Did you know that there was a movie in 97? Did you know that there was an animated show on HBO? But the difference is that Spawn looks cool. Maximilian dude said that Spawn, if you really think about it, is the originator of aura farming. And I concur. What are these things? So to this day, I still have no idea what this Poppy Playtime thing is. And yeah, a little video here showing more of it, spending a hefty chunk of time on it. How long was this? 42. Okay, it was 3 minutes. Why did it feel like it was like 5 times or 4 minutes? And then they revealed this Doctor Doom 1/6 scale statue along with the platinum variant where he's like all white. But I can't tell how authentic this was to reveal this, considering that literally this day, this Friday, that Friday night, Toy Shiz, In Pursuit of Toys, even Preternia were sharing photos of people that were legit finding this thing already out in the wild. And I'm like, but how's that possible? They just revealed it. I don't know. Somebody slipped. And then we got the Todd's mods with the only one that kind of makes sense to be a Todd's mods and doesn't look bad, which is the Plastic Man, because he's meant to look like that. He's supposed to be like elastic and bouncy like that, so it makes sense. Penguin. And then some weird DC Direct reveals. Batman as a farmer. I can't even remember who this guy is. Who did you say? Hold on, actually, let's hear this. Mixie. Oh, can you guys hear that? I don't think I allowed desktop audio. What the hell? I can hear it. Hold on.
Very, very cool.
All right, now you.
We also have Wonder Woman.
I'll admit, at least the Wonder Woman actually does look kind of cool.
With the lasso of truth,
in terms
of course.
Of like bold colors.
Wouldn't be a Wonder Woman figure without the lasso.
The highlights in the hair, actually.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, the blue highlights. Very comic booky.
Right.
Yeah. And then next up we have, evil Wonder Woman.
Who will be a red platinum? The next three will be
classic
red platinums.
Evil Wonder
the other
Woman.
three will
just
be
make the colors darker and give her eyebrows
on May 28th. But these other three will be available in stores.
Hopefully nobody takes offense to this, but the evil clone of a female character getting the pointed eyebrows is like the female equivalent of giving the evil clone of a male hero the mustache. Or the mustache with the goatee or goatee. It's the female equivalent. Is pointing the eyebrows. That was the classic thing to do, to say this is the evil clone.
Yeah, GameStop, Walmart, and Target. But yeah,
translucent. See right through them. Crystallized, if you will, right in the name. And then next we have Phantom Zone Batman. Very cool. I love the line art on this, and I think this is my favorite of all of the Super Friends
variants,
just because of that line art that looks very unique. I don't recall like us doing this, so it's nice, right? I love the logo, the details in the head, the lines in the head.
So yeah, more variants. I kind of touched upon Savage Dragon getting an Elite Edition, although some people are taking umbrage with this Elite Edition because, which I believe actually went up for pre-order today, actually, right? I could be wrong, but hold on. Did it go up for pre-order today, actually? Just have a way of lining things up. Or either, oh no, I think it got announced for the pre-order. Okay. The 29th, sorry. That's why I thought it was today. They announced the date for pre-orders today. I thought it went up for pre-order today. No, they announced the date where pre-orders will go live today, this morning. Pre-orders go live for this the 29th. Now, whether or not people are going to move on this, I don't know, because it's labeled as an Elite Edition, but people are noticing that little by little, we're getting Elite Editions that are coming
really
with less.
Pops, man. And,
Because if you look at that,
like it looks
it really pops, man.
that
Those
turntable,
photographs so
if that truly is everything it comes with, then is it truly Elite Edition? Because it's just the hands, the base, sure, the Uzi and the extra head, but I'm like, think back to the first Elite Edition with the Doomslayer, and even that, which even I started to kind of nitpick that it could have came with at least one additional weapon, still came with a hefty amount of stuff. And now I'm looking at this, I'm like, yeah, just like with Mortal Kombat, I thought that maybe Elite Edition was going to pop off similarly, and I don't think it has. Which is why they diverted to Image Founders, because now they can look at Image Founders and be like, well, we own the license to this, we're just making the figures because we like to see these things fully rendered. Whereas if they make a DC Elite Edition or any Elite Edition that's based on a different property, there's somebody else who has a stake, the license owner, saying, hey, did you move enough units of this? Especially DC, which is why I'm slowly eradicating the thought that we're going to get an Elite Edition Batman anything. Whether it be a quintessential comic Batman, a video game Batman from the Arkham series, whether it be absolute Batman in the form of an Elite Edition, I don't think it's happening, guys. I'm starting. As far as Elite Edition branding. And then we got some more sports stuff, but at least here they did showcase a few of those basketball sports, which is probably the only sports-related thing that McFarlane can turn out that can maybe pique my interest, only because I'm looking at these figures and thinking to myself, in fact, I think I posted in the chat. Let me see if I'm in the chat.
It's really awesome.
Like, they're not going to worry about losing.
Announces Go Summer Geek Out before they start sporting stores. June 12th.
Am I not in here? Where did I go?
And it's in coming with the shooting pose feature. Beautiful. We have mentioned from there is Mad and get him into some shooting poses.
Yeah, I'm not doing the top chat. I'm doing live chat. Okay. Let me refresh and make sure I'm good.
Dribbling poses. There's a really Larry Bird, Johnson, again, Sharks. And
Magnet Strong. You really got pretty strong.
Borderline. So market count, they're really fast.
Go to the next slide.
There I am. Okay.
Talking,
Okay. I was about to rage out thinking that I'm hidden on the McFarlane Toys channel because I noticed I'm logged into my other channel watching this. Not this main channel that I'm streaming on. I'm logged onto the other channel. So if I didn't see myself in the chat, then I would have been like, yo, did somebody hide me? Which is kind of like pseudo-blocked. Like, you're not blocked. You can still watch and you can still comment, but nobody's going to see you or see your comment. And I'm like, did I get hidden on the McFarlane Toys? But no, here I am. No. I thought so, but no, here I am. Because when they revealed those basketball figures, down here, I posted 96 Bulls MJ. It's all about the character. It's all about whoever they make the figure out of. If you can, because let me see if I can grab it. I'm not huge on the Music Maniac stuff that McFarlane did at all. I'm not really big into that series at all. But when I saw that Freddie Mercury was clearanced down to $12.49, 50% off from its initial $25, because for the scaling and for the limited articulation, I was like, $25 is a bit steep, and those basketball figures are probably going to be $25 as well. But for $12.50, I saw this guy at Target, Freddie Mercury, one of my favorite musicians of all time, favorite singers of all time, love Queen, love Freddie Mercury, never be another one like him. And so when I saw him for $12.50, I was like, okay, that's a little better. So I was thinking 96 Bulls, MJ, Michael Jordan, in his prime. I'm like, if it's in the scale, which it's seeming like it's going to be, and it's probably gonna have. I think it actually might. They might. Hold on. Let's go back to that. Brief moment of them showing off the basketball figures, because I think they look like they had more articulation. They actually might. Well, I don't know about the knees, but possibly the arms actually, which makes sense considering they're basketball players. Hold on. Here's Magic Johnson. Because I'm looking at those arms and I'm like, bicep swivels and double joints in the elbows. I'm looking at Freddie over here. He's only got one bend at the elbow. I think he might have an elbow swivel right below that. I mean, right above that. But then no bicep. So there might be more than what we got going on over here. But definitely only a waist joint, but no mid-torso rocker. And then over here, there's a waist, but it looks like it's just rotating cut. Whereas the Magic kind of looks like it might be able to like crunch and extend. So if they can do something that will at least give me like an affordable alternative to an MJ figure in the scale instead of having to resort to Mayfix, even though Mayfix will get you at least a much slightly more realistic Michael Jordan with felt goods uniform. So, you get what you pay for it, essentially. I don't know. Maybe McFarlane might be able to do something there. And then we get to our last batch of reveals, which is another goddamn DC Direct animated series Build-A-Figure. Remember when I said that they weren't doing any more Build-A-Figures? I was specifically talking about DC Multiverse in the 7-inch line. They technically still are making them for the DC Direct animated stuff that continuously keeps showing up at Ross's or even Diddy's. Because I'm sorry, in this scale, with this quality, $30 to $35, I think it's now $35 per figure is just not enough. Not good enough for me. It just isn't. Every time they reveal one of these things, I just keep getting turned off. The only one that kind of looks compelling and funny enough is probably Harvey Bullock because of the donut and because of the crazy stuff they're doing with the articulation on like the legs. That's pinless actually, as well as the elbows. But apart from that, Scarface with the puppeteer, I personally don't care. Talia al Ghul, she kind of looks neat, but at the same time, I'm like, again, it's the automatic cross the bear with female figures from the DC Direct line to where they're so small and skinny, but then the price is the same as the bulkier Harvey Bullock, $35, and I'm like, I can't, like, it just doesn't compute in my brain. Along with this all red animated series Robin, that again, I can kind of look at those legs and be like, I can tell how those things are going to bend. And the Bath is Renee Montoya. I'm like, why her? I'm not, again, nothing against the character, but I can tell you right now, she ain't moving. She's not moving. You barely got lucky enough to move with Bruce Wayne, Bath, and maybe, but remember Condiment King? I'm sorry, but this ain't gonna move. Renee Montoya is the bat for that DC Direct that I was already wobbly on. So yeah, immediately I'm like, I'll see you at Ross. if they even managed to make it that far. But we'll see. Maybe the new strategy is to just make low amount so that whoever truly wants it will sell, and then they'll be categorized as selling out. And then they did some more housekeeping, again, reiterating that on June 6th to 7th, they're going to be at IGN. And then at the end of the show here, actually, let me unmute it.
We've mentioned Summer Geek Out with Target, June 2024. New releases planned for that. And I will say, just to go back very quickly to IGN Live, we showcase as part of IGN in person if you can. And if you can't, it will be streamed, John. McFarlane Toy Show will be, last but certainly not least, the next episode, the McFarlane Toy Show, will be happening also live from San Diego during San Diego Comic-Con on July 22nd. Exact time to be confirmed by early July, but it will be on the 22nd. We'll be doing a show like we did, last year from our event space there in San Diego. So we have tons and tons of new stuff in hand, and everybody will be there together as well, which is always fun. And so stay tuned for that. Mark your calendars, July 22nd. There'll be tons to reveal, lots to see. And that is all we have for today. Hope everybody had a great time. Thank you to Claudio and Scorpion. Scorpion.
There's only Scorpion.
Okay. Well, to be honest, Claudio's pretty cringe here at the end, but for some reason, he's funny. He's funny enough. I don't know what it is, but maybe it's because he looks like me. But he's cringe, but in a funny way where I'm like, all right, that he can kind of tell that he is cringe. He knows that he's cringe, so he's like, all right, you're in on the joke at least. Thank you. But you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't dislike him. I like him. I like Claudio. I like all three of these guys, to be honest. It's just that behind them, I see like this Google Doc of like, only talk about this and that's it, and then get off. I'm like, I thought that was Marvel Legends' thing. Now I'm starting to feel that. It wasn't like this with McFarlane, but now I'm starting to feel that. But as you saw there, that was not only it for this stream, but we're not going to get another one until Comic-Con time, July 22nd. So a whopping exactly 2 months. We're talking about very exact dates and times. Everything is so serendipitous here today. Exactly a year. Exactly 2 months from now, we're getting the next McFarlane Toy Show episode number 14, I believe, live from, as he mentioned, the event space in San Diego for San Diego Comic-Con, which alludes, it doesn't confirm, I know it doesn't confirm, but it alludes that their intent is to do a similar off-site San Diego Comic-Con sort of gathering like they did last year at the Skyline venue that they had, where it was pretty much like that open space at the top of the building with like a lobby, with a balcony that had catering, but then they had all these displays set up for the figures that they got planned for release, that have already been released or are going to be released for the remainder of the year. I was invited to that event. I wouldn't rule out the possibility that I'm not going to get invited to this one. Considering how I've been talking about McFarlane, not just in this stream, but also in practically every stream or every chance I've gotten since. Yeah. And you guys want to know how I know that? All I'm saying is that when I saw this stream end with them saying that their intent is to have another event space San Diego Comic-Con event in which they're going to be doing that live stream from, it got me thinking, when did I get invited for the last one? Specifically. And I went into my email and dug up the email that I got that asked me to RSVP and to write down my name and my girlfriend's name so that she can come in as well. And lo and behold, again, speaking to the serendipitous nature of our stream today, lo and behold, I look at the date and it was exactly a year ago from when I was watching the live stream, and it prompted that thought in my head. May 15th, 2025. So here we are at the exact same day that I already got invited to that event. And so far, I haven't heard anything. Now, I'm not saying it's not impossible for it still to happen. Maybe they're still ironing out the venue. Maybe they're still working out the logistics, the list, etc. But by this point last year, they were already sending out invites, of which I myself received one, and I haven't gotten one. But again, it's quite possible that they are still working things out. But That's all I know. That's the only like solid information that I know. It's still quite possible that they might still, like I said, are still working things out. There's a delay in the venue and confirmation of it or what have you. And maybe knowing the way, my timing, my luck is, I'm saying this right now, and then come Monday, it's like, hey, do you want to go? And I'm like, oh. So I'll keep you guys posted if that changes. I'm open to it being changed because, again, as I was, the reason for why I was foreshadowing with my little rant earlier at the beginning of the stream about apathy. Apathy hasn't really set in for me with McFarlane Toys. It hasn't, which I consider to be a good thing because apathy is, in my opinion, the worst thing. Is when I don't care about anything that you have to do. That, to me, that's like a fate worse than death. Because it's like, wow, you don't care about this brand. I still care about McFarlane Toys. You have people who are just actively going into comment sections saying, I pray for him to lose the license. I'm so glad for him to lose the license. Meanwhile, every chance I get, I say that I'm actually kind of bummed that he's losing the license because I know that McFarlane Toys is turning into like the Michael Bay of action figures, to where I still stand that Michael Bay can be a great director. Yes. But sometimes he gets in his own way of wanting to play with action figures, aka the Transformer movies. But every time in between the Transformer movies, there would be a Pain and Gain. There would be a 13 Hours. You go and watch those movies, they're actually good movies. And then going back to the original Bad Boys and The Rock, he can be a great director, but he gets in his way sometimes. And right now, I'm feeling that vibe from McFarlane Toys, to where I'm like, I can see the vision, but you're getting yourself in the way, and that's why I criticize so heavily in the streams, in the reviews. But the communication, or lack thereof now, is what's giving me the impression that I'm like, all right, so you guys don't want criticism. You guys just want guys that are fans of everything, that say nothing but great things, and those are the guys that you send the free figures to. Those are the guys that you're inviting. Okay, I can't force you to do anything. That you do you. And at the same time, there's a silver lining. The silver lining is that it's freeing, knowing that if I paid for a figure, I will be completely honest about that figure. If there's something awesome about it, I'll say what's awesome about it. If there's something shitty about it, I'll say what's shitty about it. And there's no lingering, cognitive dissonance of me going, oh, should I say things much more, or try to skew things much more positively so I can get invited to that next event? It's like, no, because that's not happening anyway. So I'm like, all right. And the other silver lining is that me and my girlfriend can save money on hotel and travel. Especially with the way gas is right now. Jesus. Uncle, let me know if you want some McFarlane Elite points. They came with my Helldivers. I don't want them. What are the let me look it up. What's the Elite rewards? Because I know that they're kind of mixed a little bit with like the normal ones, but at the same time I'm like, don't they have some? Oh wait, didn't I go on a rant about how the Elite rewards are the same? Let me see. No, I was thinking. Well, hold on. I'll check the other page. Something that I did kind of want to redeem my basic points on seems to now be sold out, which was the well, it's not the biggest deal, honestly. It was the accessory pack number 3, which is basically the munitions pack. I don't know why they call it differently, but it's the munition pack number 3, because I have 1 and 2, so it would have been nice to complete the set. But it looks like it's sold out of the reward section. You could technically like still buy it, but specifically for rewards, it's sold out. It's out of stock. Damn. But it's not the biggest deal because this is the one that has like the least realistic effects. You know what I'm saying? Apart from that, you have like these unpainted prototype statues of like the pre-post stuff, like the Rocky stuff, 40-year-old virgin. I don't know. Oh, some video game stuff. Diablo 4. Elite Edition pin. Yeah, Brian, it's okay. I'm good. That's the thing. It's like they didn't even make the rewards for the Elite Edition program worth it. I even said that in my review for the first one, the Doomslayer. I was like, guys. Oh, okay. I think I might have to sign in here. Let me sign in. I think it's out of stock just for Elite members, but now it looks like for regular members, I can still redeem that Munitions Pack 3. I can. Okay, so they just took it down from Elite Edition. All right, so I still can read it. Okay, maybe one of these days. So if you have regular points, Brian, I'll take them. No, that's okay. And here's how I can tell you guys that I'm still not apathetic about McFarlane toys and I still feel like they can do better, is because I still wouldn't mind getting a t-shirt from them using my rewards points, because now they have a small size. I was holding out on getting a McFarlane toys shirt for the longest time because their smallest size was medium, which is not terrible. I think this is a small. I think it's like a small slim. Medium sometimes are a little bit too big on me because I'm naturally skinny. Look at me. Bones. So recently I checked and it does show that they managed to finally get small size t-shirts. So I was like, oh, cool. There's so many reasons why some wouldn't watch the show during those hours. Some may even just started watching the show and oh, yeah, you're talking about the boys. Skelly Bones, I'm sad to report that you might just be one of the only people here in the chat that know what Poppy Playtime is. Skelly Bones, I was thinking the same thing. She looks like a shield. I thought she looked like Mariah Hill. What is the point of the bath if you ain't gonna make it a badass character or something? Like you need the incentive to build the figure. The last time with those animated figures, the last one that made me go maybe, but even then, $35 each. I was like, it was the Bruce Wayne, because it would be cool to have like a animated Bruce Wayne next to my animated DC Direct Batman. But you do the math and you're like, okay, none of the main characters I'm interested in. So $140 before tax, $140 after tax, probably like what, 152, 155? Let's just round it to 155. $155 for a Bruce Wayne figure from DC Direct, not even McFarlane, so it's even smaller. Come on. That's why I was waiting and waiting to see if they ever hit Ross, and unfortunately they never did. There might still be time, but off topic, Absolute Green Arrow #1 released yesterday, and I'm hearing it's a banger. Really? I still have yet to get into Absolute. I know that behind on the Fraction Jimenez Batman by one issue, #9, I believe it is. Tried going to a comic book shop on Saturday, and lo and behold, technically they had Batman #9, but they had variant covers, and right now I'm trying to stick with just the standard covers, just to have this cohesiveness across my collection of the Fraction Jimenez series right now. So get the main covers, and then if there's a variant cover that looks kind of neat, which I gotta be honest, those variant covers that I did see didn't look all that special to me, then get those. But I wanted the main covers, and I asked the guy, and he's like, yeah, no, we're out. We just have the variants. It was the one comic book shop that I went that day. I was like, they didn't have them. So I might try again tomorrow to one spot that I frequent quite a lot. So I'll see if they have it. Okay. I noticed that we spent the better part of an hour talking shit about McFarlane. That's the type of shit talking that, like I said, makes it much less likely that you'll be seeing me at that San Diego Comic-Con event like last year. And I was genuinely I genuinely did have fun at the event last year. I did. I had fun going through the different tables, shooting footage. Me and my girlfriend were just kind of like looking at everything and shooting the shit. And overall, I really genuinely enjoyed it. It was actually through that event that I won the 1-year membership of Platinum, which I think expires in July. But, you know, I have to be completely honest with like the actual product output, whether it's good products or bad products. But if that's going to cost me being able to be invited to this event, it's incredibly unfortunate, but it is what it is. I'm not going to bend. Especially when I know that bending comes back to bite you in the ass, figuratively, and I guess to keep up with the metaphor, literally. Something that's going to be very easy to not think about when it comes to Marvel Legends. Marvel Legends also announced a live stream for Monday, the 18th, so it was this past Monday. And I approached it the exact same way as the McFarlane Toy Show, where I'm like, if there's something important enough to talk about, then I will lump it into the stream. And to a certain degree there was, but the main reason for why I'm including it here is because of the fact that it's staying on brand, not necessarily on brand, on topic, on theme, there you go, with our other two topics and our other two companies, of one of which we just got done talking about, which is McFarlane Toys, with a huge 1-hour stream that barely had any meat to chew on. So now we have the inverse, where we have an incredibly short live stream, only 18 minutes, featuring this kind of cringy Brit known as Mr. Stevie. I've always heard about him, but I never really watched him directly. But that's mainly because I think he's mostly Star Wars, or he mostly shows up in other Hasbro stuff. He barely ever gets into Marvel Legends related stuff. But considering that not only is Ryan gone, but now people are suspecting something may have happened to Dwight because he's been out of the Marvel Legends game in terms of streams and in terms of promotional stuff online, that people are starting to suspect that Dwight is gone too. Even though here at the beginning they say that Dwight is okay and that he actually might be showing up at San Diego Comic-Con, I'm over here like, okay, where is he? You don't have to give out all the details, but how, like, to the chest you keep it is me going, something's happening. Either he quit and you're just trying to figure out how to say it, but this ain't a joke anymore. Like, if he missed out a week, I'll be like, all right, he had, like, maybe surgery for something and he's recovering. But here's the thing. If it was, like, a health reason, you don't have to give us all the details. Just say, you know, he's working on his health right now. And that's it. Just leave it at that. But the fact that they keep dancing around it and saying Dwight is still alive, Dwight is still, and, you know, Dan saying that Dwight's still with the company, and I'm over here like it's not even tongue in cheek. And what really doesn't help is that Dwight doesn't even have any social media, so he can't speak for it. And, you know, nobody can force him to put social media up, but at the same time, it's just, the optics do not look great. So the fact that if we truly do lose Dwight from the Hasbro team, I'm looking at this smiling son of a bitch over here on the right, who I've hated since day one. Also, dude, you're not 5 years old. Tucking your hair if you're wearing a hat. Jesus. So this was not the greatest stream to sit through. So you can bet your ass there was no way I was waking up at 8 in the morning to watch this, because this was at 11 a.m. Eastern. Because I believe Hasbro Marvel Legends is based out in New York. Could be wrong, but I think they're mostly East Coast. So this was broadcasted over here. Broadcasted because it's technically pre-recorded and they just live stream it as a video. Which is why I find it funny that everybody's in the chat saying, hey, can you say, you know, can you tell us if you this? I'm like, guys, this is pre-recorded. they don't care. They don't care about you like that. They're not gonna engage with you like that. They recorded this probably the day before, 2 days prior, edited it together, and they posted it afterwards. Okay. Now, was there something kind of worthy to talk about here regarding me and the main character that I vie for out of Marvel, which is Spider-Man? Sorta, but to get to that, we have to go through a lot of green, which is going to be very Hulk-based stuff here at the beginning. Again, I don't want to annoy you guys with the cringy humor, the corporate safe humor they have to do here at the beginning, especially with Mr. G. That's Mr. Stevie the entire time. Like, Jesus fuck, dude. So this is the notorious Mr. Stevie and doing the thing for what he's known for. But they reveal the big tease that they were talking about an awful lot, which is that their next big box Hulk figure is Hulk 2099. I didn't even know that Hulk had a 2099 variant, but here he is. To go along with the Abomination and the Professor Hulk. Is it like a Hulk anniversary or something? I don't know. But very little here that has me stoked, if I'm being quite honest. I don't get it. There is a part of me that respects an awful lot of what's at play here with the new Punisher one-shot kill Marvel Legends figure, which I did watch One Last Kill, and gotta be honest, I pretty much echo the exact sentiment that everybody said. I'm pretty much following the camp of thinking that it was fine. It was like a 6, maybe 7. Yeah, the fucking meme. Somewhere between a 6 or a 7. I'm kind of leaning more towards like a 7 out of 10. But the big complaint that I have is arguably the exact same complaint that everybody else had, which is that it's incredibly redundant in the first like third of it, because it's literally it definitely. I know some people might wince at this, but it felt manufactured rather than made, because they know that Brand New Day's coming out and Brand New Day has Punisher in it. So how do we recap people on Punisher for those who didn't watch through the first 2 seasons of the Netflix show? Let's do this. Was there anything new? Not really. That first third is literally just recap of the show. So here I am, having seen both seasons of the show, and I'm like, we're doing this again? We're doing the no, literally again. I'll keep it vague in case you haven't watched it yet, but he's literally doing the whole no thing again. Now, when the action gets rolling, I did get vibes of The Raid. I did get vibes of John Wick. But as much as I liked that some of the action, and it's funny because some people were saying that the blood looked CG. I didn't think it looked CG. I actually think they blended it well. Yes, that stunt that went viral did look CG. But one complaint that I haven't heard anyone mention, as far as I can tell, if somebody can point me in the direction of a social media post or a video of somebody saying this similarly to how I'm mentioning it, no one's mentioning what I pointed out, which is that the choreography in and of itself is good. And it would have been great if I couldn't tell that John Barenthal is fighting a stunt team. Because those guys that he was fighting, you know, the great stunt work and great fight choreography is some of the best is the one that you cannot tell is choreography. That's the point. Is to make it not feel like choreography. And with this choreography, the actual moves with like the guns and how he was flipping the guns and flipping like the furniture inside the apartments was dope. But the actual stunt members, after like just a minute or two, I was like, didn't he kill that guy already? And that's the problem. They all had like a similar physique, similar getup. There was one guy, because there were some of the guys that were wearing like bandanas or like face covers or masks or whatever. But every so often there would be like a guy that didn't have any of that. And I looked at his face and I was like, didn't he just kill that guy on the roof? So I was like, yeah. And ever so often they would do like that slow down thing where they're running up to Frank, but then you can kind of see them decreasing their speed slightly as they match him to hit the point where they have to like start the choreography. And I was like, So I was like, yeah. So overall, I thought it was okay. Like, now I'm convincing myself to go into a 6 out of 10. But I think what carries it to the 7 is that I personally do like John Barenthal as Frank Castle. I know that there's been sudden switch up of people hating on him now. I don't know where that's coming from, but I personally feel like it's more so the material that's letting him down. And yes, I think it's pretty insane that they're making a Marvel Legends figure out of this suit that, spoilers, shows up at the fucking last frame. Come on, guys. We're doing this again where he gets the suit only for him to not use it. But they're making a figure out of him. And credit where credit is due. I'm looking at that face sculpt and I'm like, that is in fact John Barenthal. That's John Barenthal shrunken down. It might be a bit of a reuse from the Born Again Season 1 figure that I actually do have. But it does look like they kind of tweaked his expression just a little bit more firmer. He doesn't look, like super like sad. He looked even sadder in the Born Again one. The Born Again one, he's got this going up like this. Here he definitely looks a little bit more pissed off, but the caveat, he comes with the beard. So I was like, fuck, if only we can get this no beard. It would be in a trench coat. It would almost be perfect, honestly. It would almost be perfect, but with Marvel Legends, there always has to be something to just be like, yeah, that thing that makes sense? Yeah, we're not going to do it. So, frankly, see what I did there. I feel like I can skip this. I already got the Born Again one, even though it's got the worst expression, and he does come with like the screaming face, the shotgun. I think it looks like a reuse of the pistol and the axe from the Born Again one, but a couple of extra hands. So, I know that pre-orders are already live, but again, if the special had moved me maybe a little further, I would have said cool, but nah, I'm good. And then some Future Foundation double packs with the Fantastic Four. With Sue and Thing there. Doesn't speak to me. If Marvel Legends were actually a better company, this tank top on Thing would have been felt good. But like, even nylon. And then as some other creators were pointing out, those balls that Invisible Woman is holding, why aren't they clear? It would have made more sense to be clear. Here, they literally look like marbles. Like, I get that you guys were going for like an effect, but, and then Spidey and Mr. Fantastic, which I will admit that some of the elastic stuff effects for Mr. Fantastic look kind of neat. Didn't we already get this Spidey before? Could have sworn we already got the Spidey. And no, I'm not talking about the Buck. I mean, yes, that we've seen that Buck dozens and dozens and dozens of times. But I'm talking about the Future Foundation skin. Have we gotten that before? I can't remember. It looks familiar and at the same time not, unless I'm confusing it with something else. Okay, and then we get to the ads, 16-minute video, really? For Marvel Legends, the corporate conglomerate, really? Anyways, then we get to the San Diego, and actually, hold on, let me catch up on chat. See if any of you guys have any kind of opinions on the Punisher special. Did you guys watch it? They're holding that man hostage in the back. I mean, they made a joke at the beginning about how, like, oh, I'll let him out. I'll let him out eventually. But I'm over here like, is that even a joke anymore? Skelly, yes. Was that the one? Maybe that's why they haven't invited me. Is because they saw the video of my girlfriend knocking over the Pattinson Batman on the Batmobile. You're right. I completely forgot about that. Maybe that's why they're not inviting me back. God damn it. It's all her fault. Oh, Scaly, I just saw your comment. We got that Spidey like years ago now. Okay, so I was right. Okay, yeah. Probably was for the Gamerverse, the first one. Or was it like a version where it was like that suit but like inverted? He was mainly black with like white lines. I don't know, but like, that's why he's looking familiar. All right. So let's wrap things up with the Marvel Legends stream because we technically only got 2 other reveals here that I'll skim over here. The first one was a classic. I don't know how to put this, but basically the first SDCC reveal was a TV era inspired box. I was about to say box set, but it's technically not a set. Because when you see, when you see this picture right here, that's supposed to be paying homage to X-Men 97 and the late 90s with the way that the TV is set up, which, okay, you got the RCA inputs here, the buttons, and it's funny, they were even dancing around it in the stream because people were like, people in the chat and then people who have reacted to the stream since were pointing out this is way too small to be a VHS slot, but also way too big to be a DVD slot. And in 97, DVDs did make their introduction. I think I remember people now saying, thanks to the internet, that Twister that came out in 96, I believe, was the first DVD ever produced. So 96, or going into 97, I think it was 97 when it finally came to home video, was the first DVD produced. So I'm like, all right, yeah, it tracks. In 97, we did have DVDs, but this is still too big. It's like a in-between size with MVL Legends, which is kind of redundant because L stands for Legends, right there in the middle to kind of mimic the VHS logo. People were pointing this out in the chat, and even they themselves who pre-recorded this were saying, "Is that a VHS slot?" No, Dan. And even Mr. Stevie was like, "That's an MVL slot." He even couldn't yeah, the sizing of this is just way off. Anyways, it's the smallest thing to nitpick about, but I did appreciate how they kind of kept the stickers there on the side, on the back with the little attention thing that we all saw whenever we rolled the TV into the classroom whenever it was movie day at school. Way too many RCA inputs that a TV would have, but okay. To me, though, what made me go, really, is that they slide this off, and all it is just an Xavier set. I legit thought that it was going to come with the whole team. I don't know what I was thinking that it was going to come with like the core X-Men team that's actually in the screen in that graphic. But what was I thinking? No, it's just Xavier with the chair, the mind, effect, the screaming face, Cerebro, the propulsion effects, the display stand. Now, credit where credit is due. The word on the street is that this is gonna MSRP for $50. $50 ain't terrible. If I'm being honest, it's not necessarily terrible, pricing wise, for what you're getting here. But like I said, this does nothing for me. Pretty indifferent. And considering that it's an SDCC exclusive, which they did mention that if you can't go to the con, this technically will be available on Pulse Online as a Pulse exclusive, but you still have to factor in waiting in a queue of some sort, yada yada, and I'm like, nah. And to be quite honest, the same could be said about the next TV box set, which is the 1967 animated series Spider-Man. As they pointed out, the one where all the memes come from, including the famous pointing meme. And I will say that this felt like a passion project, one that you will argue is surprising that they haven't already done by this point. But as a San Diego Comic-Con exclusive, I can see this guy making its way a bit more available in time. I want to say that towards the end of the year, this guy has a likelihood. It's not a guarantee, but it's a likelihood it'll start showing up on Amazon. Not Ross or Didi's per se, but I think they'll do like a partnership with Amazon to be like, hey, you can now get it on Amazon or Entertainment Earth. I don't know about BBTS or major retailers for sure, not them, but something about it makes me go, if this does not move enough on Hasbro Pulse or through San Diego Comic-Con, they'll put it on Amazon. Because as noted by some other people who have already said in the chat and communities, yeah, 1967, some people grew up with this show, not just when it was on Prime TV, when it was first airing, but this 1967 Spider-Man show, even I watched a couple of episodes growing up because it was through syndication late night when they didn't want to show any of like the main 90s cartoons like Batman animated series or Spider-Man the animated series. Sometimes Disney would show some of these old 67 stuff. And I would see this suit with the lacking of the web lines because of the budgetary constraints. So it's cute, it's quaint. Like that's the word that comes to mind, especially with the Spider-Man, because I look at the Spider-Man and I do think of the meme, the pointing meme and what have you. Then I look at these villain characters and I will admit that Electro kind of looks compelling enough with the way he pops. Not the Lizard though. The Lizard looks way too goofy. Doesn't do anything for me. And then I don't know what they were trying to do to replicate the art style of Peter's head from that show, but it did not work well in figure form because he looks evil. He does not look right. And they definitely look great in the box when you kind of see everything kind of put together. And if this guy's also retailing for like 50, maybe even $60, I'll be like, that's not a bad price. I doubt it. Something tells me it's going to be probably closer to about 75, maybe even 80. But for like 60, 65, it's not a bad price. I'm just, like I said, not moved enough to be like, oh yeah, is this a post-stream thing that I'll wake up for? No, because I didn't want... If they did something like this for like animated series, definitely would be much more incentivized to put the money aside for it. But no, not for me. Because, some people were already saying that, oh, this is from the 60s stuff. People are old. And I'm like, there's still quite a bit here that even people my age will still recognize. But even I'm over here like, dog, you had the audacity to show this meme here, realizing full well that you can't make this without buying 2. Or if you want to do the 3 clone thing, you need to buy 3. And if each one is on the best case scenario side, $60. On the worst case scenario, 80. $240 fucking dollars so that I can make the meme in the official Marvel Legends format. That's why I believe that there's a chance that eventually this thing, if it doesn't move enough on Hasbro Pulse, you'll see it on Amazon. They're way too prideful to give it a Ross or Didi's, but yeah. We'll see. But the box looks great. I really do love the box. I love the art style on pretty much every dimension of the box. To where, like, I don't blame anyone whatsoever if they want to keep this inbox. Like, this is a definitive inbox collecting thing. Where I'm like, I'm of the mind of unboxing as much as I can, but try to preserve the mintiness of the box as best as possible while sliding things out. But if you want to collect this and accrue value by keeping it mint without ever exposing it to the elements, I don't blame you, because at least they managed to decorate it in a pretty cool looking box. There you go. And that's it. That's our SDCC reveals. That then closes out the stream with them, like I said, saying... I can
see some of you guys at San Diego Comic-Con. There will be an opportunity for Hasbro Pulse members to purchase these after San Diego Comic-Con as well. So stay tuned for more details there. So don't worry, if you're not able to make it to San Diego Comic-Con, as long as you follow Hasbro Pulse, you will have the opportunity to get it as well. Which one's your favorite so far?
Well, I love that we're a TV family. I love that. I think that's kind of cool. Very modern. Under the chair. I think it's just this. I'm here.
I gotcha.
I'm here.
I love the X-Men, and everyone knows I love the X-Men. So yeah, you can't go wrong with any of these. I hope everybody at home love it and enjoy
Oh, I
it.
bet you can.
I hope you let Dwight out for San Diego Comic-Con.
I will.
And and I hope to see some of you guys there at San Diego Comic-Con as well. Anything else you want to say, Steve?
No, just thank you for letting me join in. As I say, I've been on Marvel Legends for about 6 years now, and like it's the first time you let me.
Oh, okay. So he is on the Marvel Legends team. He's just never on camera.
I gotta get you.
Or hardly
I
on
appreciate it. No, it's lovely being here, but Dwight will be back, rocking and rolling on the next one, whenever that may be. But thanks for letting me play and see these figures. As I said, some of these I haven't even maybe, but no, it's lovely being here. But Dwight will be back, rocking and rolling on the next one, whenever that may be. But thanks for letting me.
Whenever that may be. Why can't you say that it'll be at Comic-Con? Or whatever Comic-Con stream you have planned. It is technically a little early. I mean, we still got 2 months away, but at the same time, I'm like, the fact that you're showing SDCC reveals means that you're already thinking about Comic-Con. A lot of these things are in advance. So yeah, I am not ruling out. This still doesn't do anything for me to rule out the possibility that Dwight might be out. It's not a confirmation that he is out, but it's also not enough to disprove or rule out or not think about it anymore. I'm like, and frankly, that ends the stream. There's literally nothing else. How exclusive was Bruce Wayne and Ace? I picked one up the other day from a comic book store for $50. From what I remember when I was on the floor as SDCC, was that last year or the year before? It was the year before, because last year I went to some events that were taking place during Comic-Con, but I didn't actually walk in to Comic-Con. So it was in 2024. When I went in 2024, they were starting. I went pretty late in the afternoon, and they were kind of getting to like the last third of units for that Batman and Ace. But about a month or so later, he was available as a EQL lottery thing. And God only knows how many units were available through that. So, yeah. Looks like maybe they had a little bit more than they anticipated outside of the SDCC event or the booth. They did the inverse, main color being black. I knew it. Yeah, that was like a singular retro card release. I can't remember if it was retro card, but it was like the inverse. Oh no, it was the game reverse. Yeah. Yeah, it's a shame that box actually does pop and look pretty nice. Like if you display it on the shelf, it does look nice. But the figures inside, I'm like, you have to be either diehard or a completionist. I just realized you kind of look like Paul from the new Spidey. No, Claudio from McFarlane Toys looks like Paul. Okay. Now, let's close out with our last topic here, which is also another company that, again, McFarlane had their live stream, revealed a lot, and yet not much for me to go on. Marvel Legends had a very short stream with mostly San Diego Comic-Con events, except not ideally for the audience that they were targeting. You know, it's the Arrested Development meme where he opens the bag and he's like, I don't know what I was expecting. For Marvel Legends, at least. I had a little bit more of hopium, as the kids like to say these days, for McFarlane Toys. And I was looking at these two events and saying, okay, if there's enough meat to chew off these bones, I will do a live stream talking about those things. What then cemented my choice to go live today and to talk about this on camera, or at least splice this segment out, should I do so, is that I also came to know that Inart, through their socials, because they talked about this, they announced this, they were going to be attending an event in China over the weekend, last weekend, called, actually, let me pull it up on their official Instagram. If I can find it. Just saw it too. Here we go. Yeah, right here. They had their event appearance from May 14th to the 18th at the, see if I'm not mispronouncing this, Changshan Agricultural Expo Center, as part of the Northeast Asia International Model Art Expo to showcase art collectibles. We're excited to announce that Inart and Interaction are coming to the blah, blah, blah. This booth is dedicated exclusively to artistic display and exhibition purposes. No products will be available for on-site purchase. Okay, that makes sense. Our goal is to provide visitors with a pure viewing and experience focused. I think that got mistranslated because the sentence doesn't make sense. Focused on the artistry and craftsmanship behind each piece. We look forward to seeing you there. That was from May 14th through May 18th. So May 14th comes around, but I consider that to be kind of like their preview night. So I'm like, all right, maybe they don't have things set up. That's why we're not hearing anything. Well, you know, because eventually when it comes to these Chinese events, sure, they have their own version of like social media platforms, but eventually that stuff manages to leak and make its way to Facebook, Instagram. Some people start compiling the photos and put up YouTube videos about it, so on and so forth. Friday the 15th comes around. I watch the McFarlane Toy Show, gather my thoughts about that. Saturday rolls around, and I was kind of looking at Saturday as the likely day for some stuff to get out there, considering that China's pretty active on Saturdays. You know, sometimes Inart themselves reveals stuff on their socials on Saturdays. And I was thinking to myself that, okay, anytime now. We get to Sunday. And the only thing that made its way out was this Reddit post, or rather these photos, because this Reddit post is only one of like 2 Reddit posts on the official Inart 112 subreddit showing anything related to this Changsheng event. And this post is literally asking what happened to the event. Because apparently, from what I can tell and from what I was able to just like go throughout, the Inart subreddit, the Inart 112 subreddit, the Inart Collectibles Facebook group, unless I'm missing something, and I'll do a quick scavenging hunt here, this is it. These 2 photos are everything that was shown at this event. We're here for this pure viewing experience. Oh, it's pure, right? Because there's nothing else to view. There's nothing else to distract us. Because from what I can tell, based on like the background clues here, there were only 3 figures shown, 2 of which were 112, which is, one of them is this wolf character from Wukong. I can't remember his name, but he's from the video game Black Myth Wukong. And then on the other side, and I can tell it's the other side because you can see this fire effect here on the right. You can see it kind of bleed in a little bit here on the top left. So this is that adjacent side of the other side of the table. Flip it. And on behind him is the Batman Who Laughs from Dark Knight's Metal. That was recently revealed officially with promo photos and was made available for pre-order. Pre-orders launched. So they simply just took their prototype and showed it off, which is cool. You got the accessories here on the front. They put them in a pretty cool pose with the chain, with the dynamic purple flame effects, and even look at the product box here on the side. Sandwiched in between these 2 figures is probably their only, from what I can tell, actually I take it back. I was going to say they're only 1/6 scale, which is that pig character from Wukong in 1/6 scale. But if you look at the far here, I don't see anything on this side. I see a bunch of like that's a Doom helmet. I don't know what that looks kind of like Fallout. I'm not sure. They look like props, so I can't really say too much about what's happening in the background over here. If you look at the background over here, you can see the 1/6 scale Michael Jackson from the 90s, where he had like the gold thong thing. You can see him right there in the background. So you had some 1/6 scale stuff, but again, not DC related. It would have been nice. It would have been kind of sick if they showcased the Ben Affleck, the 1/6 scale BVS Affleck Batman, and then more of the Wukong stuff here on the far left, over there towards the backside there. That's it. That is everything that was shown. Did they ban? And then the caption here reads, "Did they ban photos, or did they only really bring 2 figures to show off?" I haven't even seen proper pics of the 1/6 scale figures. Some of the comments, this is a meme. I don't mean this to be ignorant, but isn't it better to allow pictures to be taken, or is it limited because of the event, or not necessarily Inart? Inart did even promote that they are coming to this event, and they only bring 2 action figures. Then why even? I'm sorry, I know that sounds mean, but yeah, it's like the amount of time and money to go to, because it costs money to go to this event. Sometimes they don't pay you to come to this event. You actually have to like buy out the table space and the shelf space to prop up your booth to be like, hey, come look at us for the exposure. So I'm getting the impression that Inart went out of their way to spend this money just to show 2 figures off. I'm like, yeah, if I was you guys, I would have saved my money and my time and just keep on working. Keep on working on the figures. Keep on sculpting. Just ignore this. If you only got 2 figures to show, then don't show anything. It's the same thing that I have to say about video games that get shown off way too early. GTA 6. Which, who knows, maybe we'll finally get an answer to that in the next couple weeks. But yeah, why did you show up with just 2 figures? I'm like, I'm sorry, but some tough love, because again, if anyone can give Hot Toys a run for their money, especially when they need it right now because of how complacent they've gotten, it's Inart. Not, mainly through 1/6, because Hot Toys does 1/6, but also in the 1/12 market, you can see that they're looking to be delivering some pretty cool stuff. Here's a quick snippet of the Arkham Origins Batman, which I genuinely still want, even with the scaling controversy. I still want this guy. I still have my pre-order. But there's some weird decisions happening that do need to be criticized, so that hopefully, going forward, we could see the right trajectory and have Inart be who Hot Toys thinks they are. So I don't know what the purpose was of that event. And it makes me wonder if they, at the beginning, we're bookending the stream here with 2 companies that I attended Comic-Con events for last year. One of which says that they do have the intent to go to Comic-Con. Whether or not I'm invited, who knows? It's looking a little unlikely. And now we're bookending it here with a company that did have 2 Comic-Con events in the past couple of years that I was invited to, and I genuinely liked, and there were some things that they showed off that I really, really liked, and I look forward to seeing more. But now I'm feeling a little shaky as to whether or not they're actually going to show up at Comic-Con again this year. Considering that they're showing up at events like this, and you only got like 2 figures to show, I'm like, I really don't want you guys to show up at Comic-Con or at an event on site on Comic-Con, and when I get there, there's only like 2-3 figures, and then that's it. I'm like, again, because I know it costs money to rent out this venue and time. Not to sound super like business only, but this is time and money that could have been spent on working on the figures. They should delay GTA 6 till next gen. Who wants to play? I'm not ruling out the possibility that the state of play happens and it ends with a new trailer for GTA 6. But then at the end of the trailer, it says, April 2027. I'm not ruling that out, man. And I know that the CEO of Take-Two keeps saying, no, we're still on for November. I'm like, if you were, you would have started promoting this like a couple months, at least 2 months ago. Inart might be going all out for Comic-Con China 2020. China has a Comic-Con? Hong Kong Comic-Con 2026. 29 to 30. That's coming up next week. Hopefully, I gotta be honest. I did not know about this. Maybe this could legitimately explain why they only had 2 figures to show at this event. Because the rest are showing up at are showing up at Hong Kong Comic Con. They gotta change that name. HK Comic Con. That's better. HK Comic Con. Okay. Did they confirm that they're going to? But I guess that's the next question. Did Inart confirm that they're going? Hall 3, Hong Kong Convention Center and Exhibition Center. Oh. Okay. Is there a thing that shows me who is showing up? It's still coming soon, so they're still ironing out because still a program. Organizer, operators. Yeah, because I'm looking for exhibitors. Okay. Thank you, Brian. Thank you for telling me about this. I did not know that there was a Chinese Comic-Con. I really didn't. And you said it yourself, like, this is their first one. Now I'm like, all right, that probably explains it. There has to be more to that event unless they were underprepared. Now knowing that there's a literal Chinese Comic-Con next week, I'm like, ooh, so maybe what they did want to show is going to be at that. Okay. And if there's enough there to talk about, considering that it starts Friday and ends Sunday, which means that they might not show something until Saturday, theoretically. Probably no stream next week, but the week after that. And if there's more like McFarlane stuff shown or LPZZ stuff shown, etc., live stream for that. I feel like Mayfix has better articulations than both Inart and LPZZ. Also, the Mayfix are still relevant next to theirs. Kinda Blackout Mike, only because recently I already put him away, but I'm literally on the cusp of putting the finishing touches on my review / comparison for the Mayfix Final Suit Spider-Man from No Way Home and comparing it to the figure arts and the Legends. It's like 97% done. I just need bits of music on it, and I need to work out a couple of shots there towards the end. But outside of that, it's pretty much done. I'll render it today and upload it, and I'll probably schedule it to publish it Sunday, just to give myself a day buffer. But yeah. But the reason for why I brought that up is because messing with those joints, the actual points of articulation and where they're placed and the tooling, they're great. The actual quality of the movement, though, I spent like half an hour or so blowing it with the hairdryer, putting in soapy water with the needle, blow it with the hairdryer, rinse and repeat until I finally got it to move smoothly without getting scared that I'm going to break it. PlayStation going back to exclusives. I hate to be that cynical, but I don't believe it. Ooh, I should probably... Why am I just finding out about this? I just found out that I can actually dual stream to like a vertical format. I should try that out on my next stream. Huh. But yeah, I'm sorry, Brian, but I'm a pessimist, and frankly, I get the vibe that they're saying that now, but as soon as the money starts coming back in, they're gonna be like, all right, now we're putting this on PC. Like, no. I'm sorry, man, but money talks. If it talks loudly enough, they'll waver. But yeah, like I'm looking to the, hold on, let me look to the Inart. Where's the Inart subreddit? Not the Inart 112, just the Inart overall. Here we go. What have they posted in terms of that event? It's mostly questions about where to, oh, here we go. Oh, see, like a couple of swipes and it's Inart official saying, hey, we're going to be going to this event. And I'm like, where are the photos? There was nothing here. God damn. Let me check out the Facebook group. But yeah, look, I'm doing one last check. So this is the page that's only going to have the announcement that, oh, we're going to the event. Yeah. So let me go to the group. Found the group. New posts. Last post was on the 20th, which was just photography. Cool shots. Especially of the Batman. And that's it. Nothing from the event. Yeah. Got to recoup that marathon lost? Yeah. Which, you know, it's pretty obvious. With the console going up in price earlier this year, and then the PlayStation Plus subscription going up last week, was it? Or was it this week? Last week or this week? One of those two. It's obvious. It's Marathon and the recent Bungie, like that report of how much Bungie lost. It's pretty obvious. They're like, we're trying to make the money back. Just think about it. You didn't play our game, so we're going to charge you more. We're going to take your money because you didn't play our game. Like, in what world does that make sense? Now, thankfully, my PS Plus subscription has been off since last year because it ran out. And to be honest, I never really saw incentive to reboot it back up. So I was like, I'll just leave it alone. And now I'm kind of glad that I don't, because I'm like, okay, so from now on, I'm just going to buy the games that I want. That's it. No more PS Plus. Like, oh, this game is free now. Like, now as an adult, I'm like, I don't have time to be playing all these games. They're just going to start stacking and stacking and stacking. I'm like, just turn this off. Stop getting charged every month. And then if a game comes out that you genuinely want to play, like Lego Batman Legacy of the Dark Knight, which I actually have to go pick up at Best Buy later on tonight and might be my first video essay of 2026. Then I'll buy it. But yeah, thank you, Brian, for letting me know about the Chinese, the HK Comic Con, because I'm like, all right, yeah, if Inart's going to that will most definitely explain why that event was lacking. And if it was, then I'm like, oh, please tell me that the HK Comic Con is truly where they're going to set up way more Inart stuff for both, mainly 112th, but also some cool 1/6 stuff for like the BVS, Ben Affleck, maybe a full reveal of the Man of Steel Superman that they've been teasing, and some other stuff. But I'm looking at the 112 stuff. Like, what else are you going to show? Are you going to give us what is effectively going to be the final release of the BVS Batman and BVS Superman in 112th? Maybe finally an absolute Batman figure that we're probably not going to get from McFarlane, because the more we inch towards the July, the more I'm starting to rule out the possibility that we're ever gonna get Absolute Batman. Honestly, guys, I hate to say it, but I'm starting to waver. I think it's likely we'll get the Fraction Jimenez comic Batman because he has that physicality that makes me go, that's just the Nightfall Buck, and just put a new deco of paint on it. But the Absolute Batman, that's gonna need new tooling and new sculpting that I don't think they can afford right now with the loss of the license. It's like I'm losing hope on that one, guys. At that point, I might as well start swallowing copium. It slaps so hard because the more word got out that the game is pretty much just an Arkham, it's pretty much Arkham 5 in a Lego skin, I'm like, oh. And then recently people found out through the credits that I think at least one dev, if not a handful of devs that actually did work at Rocksteady and on the Arkham games worked on this. I was like, I gotta get it. I know it's $70, but this, and if I do get it, I will for sure make content out of it. You know, it will go towards the channel. I was like, yeah, at least put it down on a payment plan or something, and that's what I did. And later on tonight, I'm gonna go pick it up. I don't know if I'm gonna start it tonight, because I want to be like peace of mind and I have stuff to finish. So we'll see. But yeah. All right, guys. Per usual, getting hungry, losing my voice. And we're already over 20 hours, 2 hours, and I covered all the topics. Those were the 3 main topics. I do feel like we went a little long on on the McFarlane talk show. I'm trying to be nicer here, but yeah, the McFarlane talk show. Chances of getting a Lego Batman stream, I'm on the fence of buying it or not. Chances are small, because for me to stream, actually, I don't know. I guess if I just hold out on playing it until like Monday, maybe Monday. That's a big maybe. I don't know. Because on the one hand, I'm like, I wouldn't mind doing a stream. But on the other hand, I need to capture footage. And I don't have a rig yeah, okay, actually, I completely forgot about that. I don't think so, guys. I gotta be honest. Because I need to be able to capture and stream at the same time. And unfortunately, this computer that I have, it can't do that. It does one or the other. It can't do both. I've tried it. I've run tests with when I was doing, I think, Arkham Origins. Oh, no. The Arkham City, when I was trying to like capture footage for that, for the video essay. And I was like, should I stream it? And I ran a test stream, like a privated stream. It was stuttering. It was dropping frames. So, I don't know what to tell you. I tried troubleshooting. I tried like lowering the quality. I think it was like 1080p for both the stream and the capturing footage. So I wasn't going crazy. And it was still bugging out on me. I was like, it can't do it. I don't know why, but I don't know what I spent $1,400 on a couple of years back, but that's what I'm dealing with. So chances are dismal. I would say that what I'll probably do, because I know some creators do this, I'll play through it, capture all the footage, do a stream, start scripting my video essay. But while I edit the video essay, I'll then live stream like a second playthrough of it, since I already got my footage. But at the same time, I don't know. I played 8 hours of the Batman game with my dad, even though it's very painful to play with him. Yeah. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to playing it. But, yeah, guys, I'm going to jet on out here. It's getting hot, and got to go eat, and I'm losing my voice. But those were the main topics. Wasn't there... Oh, the Hot Toys related thing. But, nah, if anything, like, the Hot Toys thing is that Hot Toys is doing another Final Suit Peter, but it's like a 2.0 or 1.5 revision. But it's just kind of like I said, I was using it as like a thing to talk about how sometimes these companies get so complacent that they need a kick in the ass for competition. But it's discouraging whenever that competition has that potential, but they stay so quiet for so long that we're like, guys, come on. So, but at the same time, we shouldn't really dwell on that too much. So, anyways, Brian, Skelly, Bones, Blackout Mike, who else was here? I think it was mainly you guys. Blackout Mike, Tony, Kayat Official, who was in here a little bit earlier, OTF Dez. And that's really about it. And whoever else lurked and watched the stream, thank you guys for watching. There's a good chance that there's not going to be a stream next week because I might be focusing on that Lego Batman. All my attention might be going to that. But after the revelation or the realization, thanks to Brian, about there being a Chinese Comic-Con and Inart's potential involvement with that, then there might be enough for a stream after next week. I'll keep you guys posted. So stay tuned to the community tab. Stay tuned to the channel for whenever that notification pops up. And apart from that, guys, I'll bid you guys farewell. And until next time, as always, stay humble. Peace.